Just like us, most pets overindulge over the holidays. So to get them back on track, Homegrown Hounds owner and holistic nutritionist Melanie Fox is here with her fur babies to help you press reset on your pet's diet and make some homemade dog food.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Okay, I have to point out before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, our fabulous guests right here.
Yes.
Please do introduce us.
Always so happy to be here. This is Akeem and Amira.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Akeem actually turned 14 this week.
It's his birthday week,
Yes.
so he showed up literally. Let's see if we can show them. He literally showed up,
in
y'all.
his birthday suit.
In his birthday suit.
Yeah, I was
so
teasing.
Cute.
He was coming in his birthday
Akeem.
suit.
He said, "Child, sit me down. Leave me alone. I'm just here to look cute, okay?"
Yeah, it turns out.
So let's talk about it, because we really, I feel like it's hard sometimes to make it's hard to make a balanced diet for ourselves, let alone for our pets. So how do we go about doing that in our own kitchen?
It is. And actually, the nice thing about dogs is that we don't have to worry about changing it up because they're not going to get bored like humans. So that becomes one of the more difficult parts for making a balanced diet for humans. But, and your dogs will really appreciate this if you do make it in your own home.
Yes.
So, and it's actually easier than you think. And I know there's recipes everywhere, and we're all seeing TikTok recipes. You know, people are using Balance It, and I turned this on, which is probably a mistake. But, what we want to make sure of, because, you know, as a nutritionist, I'm always concerned about people just taking random recipes. So the two things that we always want to be careful of is that we're going to add a vitamin and mineral supplement. Okay. So we are going to make sure you're going to have to buy that. Okay. Because if you try to do that yourself, you're going to give up.
It's a lot.
Right? We don't want to make this too hard. We want to make this easy. We can put this into our routine. We can meal prep once or twice a month. You know, if you have really big dogs, maybe once a week.
Okay.
But yeah, so like I sell my mineral mix online. It is derived from all natural sources. So it's really easy for the dogs to absorb. I recommend looking for one that has that. Otherwise, you can get kind of like vitamins for dogs.
Okay.
It's just like us, though, you know, might go out the other end, you know, so the easier it is, that like a juice is easier to absorb, kind of that thing. But so you want to make sure you're doing that, and you want to make sure your portions are right and your fat content are right.
Oh,
okay.
Wow. Okay, we're getting into the science portion of
everything. That sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot right now, but it's not. Like, you know, everything we do, skincare routines are crazy.
You know what?
Right?
It becomes muscle memory. After you learn, it's like,
we
just do this on a weekly. You say kibble works as well. Is that right?
So the reason that kibble will keep your dogs alive, even though it's kind of like burnt toast. I compare it to burnt toast, right? It's cooked really high temperatures for really long, so you kind of lose all the nutrients. But if you've ever felt kibble, it's kind of greasy. So that's because they spray the vitamins on after. So you're getting the vitamins, so it'll keep us alive, right? It's like if I eat Fruity Pebble vitamins, like almost survive.
So maybe we could just give like a little sprinkle of the kibble on top of our homemade.
You can, and you can absolutely do partial home cooked food. If you're looking for your optimal health results and like trying to keep your dogs forever, like alive forever, like me, then this is kind of the base. You know, I always say like good nutrition is your base. And then we work from there with like herbs and supplements.
Very good. So you have a lot of ingredients here this morning.
What I want to talk about really fast. So my recipe is pretty easy, and I already messed up. But so we cook our ground meat with water because we don't want to brown things.
This is ground turkey,
yes? So I always recommend doing turkey. So in Chinese medicine, it's cooling and it's kind of neutral. So it works well with all dogs, right? And it's also really easy to find.
Do you want to steer away from any certain type of meat?
No, you can do whatever works best. And the nice thing about home cooking is you can take things in and out. So if something doesn't work, we try another thing.
Very good.
And I always recommend starting with the original recipe, which is kind of a half batch. I make a double batch because I know what I'm doing. But but that way the first time, so you see what works, you know. And then I do want to make sure. So basically, our recipe is 60% protein. It's going to be 30% fruits and veggies. And then it's going to be 10% grain.
And tell me about the fruits and veggies that we have right here.
So fruits and veggies, you know, you can kind of use almost all. Across the board, they're pretty safe. So we're going to use our fun staples. You can also use frozen.
I'm so glad you said that.
Don't feel bad about this because most frozen stuff is picked and blanched and then frozen. It's flash frozen.
Very good.
So it keeps its nutrients. So
but make sure we're not picking the frozen foods that already have the seasoning.
We don't want corn in them, and we don't want seasoning.
Got it.
And I stay away from like broccoli and cauliflower because they can make them gassy. And we don't need that. So
she's like, I don't want my own
so basically we have our turkey, and we want to make sure we're doing 85-15. So dogs need more fat than we do. If they're a little chubby, you can go to 97.3 if you need to. You can mix. I do a mix. And the reason I do ground is because it's going to give you the most consistent spread, right? It's going to be easy to measure out.
This is like meal prepping almost, but just for your pups.
It totally is.
And you've been making this same meal for our pups right here.
I've
Akeem
been
and Amira.
doing this recipe for 20 years. Akeem
2 decades.
they've eaten it their whole life, and they still spin
now I
and
know
get
why
excited.
he had a 14th birthday on Tuesday, didn't
we're
he?
shooting for 30, so yeah.
Oh my God. Somebody do the math on 30 times 7. I want to know.
Yeah, so we just basically put our egg and our ground turkey in here. I recommend getting one of these because it makes it go faster.
Oh, yes.
We love
a
these.
meat grinder, yes, indeed.
But with the water, so that way we're not burning it. And then we're just going to toss our veggies in there. We're going to let those cook and let those get real mushy.
Yeah. Okay, so now after everything is cooked down, how do we go about storing it? How do we keep it fresh? Because obviously we're using fresh ingredients.
So yes, so basically I recommend getting like one of these, or you can get, this has been a joy. I got this at Target. And just to kind of portion it out into small portions, you can do it in cup sizes, you can use a muffin tin, and then I just freeze it into little blocks.
There you go.
And then you pull one down the night before. I put I put it in like a mug warmer here. So like this is kind of like what you're gonna end up with.
So
and then
good.
you can easily just like serve it. I warm it up because Akeem prefers things warm.
These are her babies. These are her kids.
Yes.
Tell us, where can we find you and find more of your recipes
so my recipe is free on my website. And you can go to beggarswanted.com. You can also follow us on Instagram. It's linked in there. It's in my links.
Very good.
But I highly recommend it. It's going to save you money. And it's going to save you on vet bills too.
Melanie, thanks so much for being here this morning. And shout out to Akeem one more time for his birthday. And Amira, you too.